All right, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Ask Avera. Today, I'm gonna answer the question, what do you do if someone questions you about your sexuality? So this is actually a question that I got DM'd on Twitter from a girl, and she asked, something along the lines of, one of the things I was wondering is if somebody randomly asks you, are you straight, and you're in a non-Catholic work environment and don't want to go into a whole discourse about church teaching on sexuality, how do you answer that? And I thought that was a really fascinating question, especially because I had people question me about this. The first time I think someone ever really came at me about my sexuality was we were out in public, I think at a football game maybe. And she just kind of goes, I think I've talked about this on the show before, just kind of came at me and was like, hey, you're gay, right? And I was so confused. I didn't know how to respond. And I completely understand, not wanting to go into this whole discourse about church teaching on homosexuality. And sometimes it's not the time or place to go into a discourse like that. So my knee-jerk reaction is to say something petty and be like, why do you want to know? Or something like that. But I know that's not always the time and place either. So my kind of first thought is that just for you to know, if you're in the situation where somebody is asking you about this, a lot of people aren't going to think a great deal about Christian anthropology, how we as Christians view humanity, view sexual identity, because we know as Christians that our sexual identity has nothing to do with who we're attracted to, but has everything to do with how we were formed, how we were made, what we were made with. In Carol Halslander's book, The Reed of God, which is one of my favorite books ever, she says that, something along the lines of that, we know what we're made for by the materials that are used, so we know that we're made for love, we know that we're made to complement, and not complete, but complement. And, it's this very complex but very beautiful thing that is really hard to break down in conversations in the workplace like that. So again, my knee-jerk reaction would be why do you want to know? But honestly, you don't have to respond, you don't have to say really anything in response because, I think it's something very personal, so you don't have to feel obligated to respond to that. At the same time, if you want to say, something along the lines of, I don't necessarily, see myself as gay or straight, but if you maybe want to talk later on the subject, where maybe when we're not at work and I'm trying to get work done or things like that, I think would be a really interesting mode for evangelization, maybe outside of the workplace, but my biggest thing is don't feel ashamed, don't get nervous, because again, the ball is in your court. So you have control of that conversation. You have control of what you want them to hear, what you want them to know. So don't feel obligated to say, I have attractions to the same sex or I have attractions to the opposite sex. You don't have to engage in that way. But if you're willing to have the conversation maybe in another place, I think that'd be very good. But then, if you just don't feel like having the conversation, again, I go back to my petty knee-jerk reaction. Why do you want to know? or something like that, just to play it off. But those are my thoughts. So thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the bell notifications so you get notified every single time I post a new video. Again, thank you for watching, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.